Hello everybody! Alright, we are going to talk about the augmented chord. This is a wild chord. I don't get into this stuff very often, but I had a private lesson and we had a great time talking about diminished, half diminished, augmented, the whole deal. And I do really like the augmented chord. Let's get into it. I hope I'm not going to get too theoretical because I am going to give you the application in a way that you guys are going to be able to use this applicably. I don't know why I even tried to say that word. You guys will be able to use this even though you don't know that much theory, okay? So let's get into just some of the makeup of the augmented chord. If I have an E major triad, I have a 1, I have a 3, and I have a 5, okay? The interval stack-ups of that chord is I have a major third interval bringing me from my 1, my root note of the chord, to my major third, and then I have a minor third interval from my major third to my 5th, then I have a perfect 4th from my 5th back to my root note. That's my interval makeup. When I'm talking about an augmented chord, and it's augmented because the 5th of the chord, 1, 3, 5, my 5 is augmented. Everything now is a major third interval, right? So I have major third, and then I have another major third that just brings me right back to my starting note. And it just operates in a circle. So it's the same 3 notes stacked up. What makes that so interesting is that technically there isn't really a root note there. There's just a note you're playing on the bottom, right? So I can say that that's an E augmented, right? But then if I just take this E and put it up here, now it's a G sharp augmented. Or if I take this G sharp now and put it up here, now it's just a C augmented, right? So you kind of see that it doesn't have this definitive root note. Now, with that being said, let's take it and make it applicable. How I like to use it is a substitute for a 5 chord, okay? So if I have like A, my 4 chord, my 5 chord, and then resolving back, I can substitute. Gives it way more tension because that is actually my flat 3 or my augmented 2 of my major scale, my A major scale. So now I'm breaking out of the scale but bringing it up a half step to resolve it there, bringing this up, my 7 to my 1. That 7 to 1 is the driving force of the resolution. Okay, that's what really gives that resolving feel. What's cool about this is that half step into my root note is almost felt here with my augmented 2 or my minor third into my major third as a half step, okay? That sort of scale breaking. Now if you notice, in this chord, these 2 notes move up a half step and that note stays the same when I'm resolving it. Because this is circular, we can use this to resolve into the tonic a half step above any one of those notes. So what I mean by that is we have an E, we have a G sharp, and we have, it's not really a C, it's actually a B sharp, okay? And I know that that technically doesn't exist, but theoretically it does because everything is a third apart. There are gonna be times where you're gonna have an E sharp or even an E double sharp, believe it or not, just because if you're dealing with a 7-note scale, you have to have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or 6, or a 7, right? No matter how they're all spread out and done up. When you have, and same, there has to be an A, a B, a C, a D, an E, an F, and a G in there, right? So you can't have, in this, right, you can't have that being a minor third, but also a major third, and no second. You would have to have an augmented second, and and then a major third. I just want to throw that out there. All right, not that important. Not that important. Let's get back to resolving a half step above any one of those notes. Okay. So what I did was my first one. I did all right. I'm going to use it subbing for my dominant into this, into my A. So that means I took the G sharp and resolve that up a half step into my A. Great. Let me take this same chord and let me pick another one of those notes. This E. I'm going to resolve that a half step up into an F. If I do this. It still works, right? And then if you notice, the E, right, and then this G sharp both move up, and this note stays the same, right? And that's how we get to the F. And like I said, I mean, it gives so much tension. Let's pick the last note. Let's pick that one. Now we have our ear kind of attuned to that F sharp. So let's get it in C sharp. Right? Here. There it is. Now, technically, that note stays the same. This note moves up, this note moves up, right? There's my C sharp. Okay? So, if we are going to talk about where you can stack this to then resolve to the tonic, let's take each one of those examples. The first example, I used it as a substitute for the fifth. All right? Now, that was my lowest note. And the reason I want to go through this is because us guitar players were very visual, and we could see that very much mimics an E, and that resolves into my A. Now, the next one, okay, so that was 5 to my tonic. The next one was F. I can build it off of my 7, E, into my tonic, F. Okay, so now that same chord is built as a half step below my tonic, so my 7 to my 1. So I built it off of the 5 into the 1 in A. I built it off of the 7 in F. Okay. And I want to keep going over this. I know some of you guys are probably like, dude, you keep saying it. And I apologize. But some people might miss it. And then this last one in C sharp. I built it off of my flat 3. Okay, that's my flat 3 in my C major. So it's really cool to use. I think the Beatles do, and I can't remember the song. I'm so bad with that anyway. So bad with song names. So bad with song names. I feel like that sentence comes out of my mouth a lot for a music teacher. The cool thing is too, it could be very elusive, meaning I could start. Okay, so our ears are kind of tuned to that. So if I did like trying to get like our ear away from any tonal center, and I play this. Don't know what that next chord is. Is it this? Cool. Or is it right? So that's why it's really cool too to use as a starting point, a jumping off point, because it's not like if I start a song like this. That's where it's gone, you know, you can tell. Unless you did a deceptive cadence and brought it up here, but same thing, it's still giving you the tonal center. That doesn't give you the tonal center. It's just too rounded. There's no stopping point in there, right? So I hope that helped. And I want to see what you guys think in being a songwriter, if you guys can put that into a song. if you can put it into some sort of a melody building, or when you hit that, there better be some weird stuff going on in that lyric to really make that chord stand out. So try it, let me know what you think.